What do you do it for? What are you running for? What are you running toward?
Hi guys, thank you for clicking on this video. My name is Candy, so also go by Confidant Candy. If you're new here, thanks for choosing me to watch. If you are subscribed, thank you for coming back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about how to find a study abroad placement. If you'd like to know more, keep watching. Firstly, you need to think about your options. Do you want to study or do you want to work? Or do you want to study for part of the time and work for part of your placement year? You've got to think about the requirements you are going to need in order to study and or work abroad. When thinking of where you like to work and or study, you need to think of the following things. Number one, what is your ideal climate? I moved to Montreal, Canada, which is very cold. Like, I'm not really one for the snow, but I decided I want to switch up a bit. I was looking for some change in my life and I decided that going back to Canada is what I'm going to do. I went to Canada when I was about 6 years old and I haven't been since, so I wanted to see what it was like. There were several partner universities in Canada. I decided to go to Montreal. There was one closer to Toronto. I don't know why I didn't do my research, but I decided to go to Montreal, see if I can pick up some French, but sadly to report, I did not, but I'm gonna get to that later on in the video. Number two, customs and language. Would you like to pick up a new language in the country that you choose to move to? I honestly thought that I'll be able to pick up French. Prior to deciding where you would like to work and or study, make sure you do ample research about traditional customs and way of life there. Make sure your stay goes as smoothly as possible. There are different customs all over the world, to make sure you know what is appropriate. Number three, budget. Places such as California are super duper expensive to study for students unless you have a scholarship. I went to Montreal and I must say it's much cheaper than living in London. I paid roughly 350 Canadian dollars a month for rent, which includes TV, my bills, gas, electricity, but it didn't include the laundry, as laundry was like within the building, but it wasn't in my actual apartment, so I had to pay for that. Also, I shared a kitchen and a bathroom. Would I do it again? Absolutely not, because there's different levels of hygiene, different levels of cleanliness, and I shared with two other guys and a girl. No bueno. I'm not doing that again. I encourage you to write a list of potential monthly costs to see how much you would need in order to stay for the length of time you intend to, and see how much you'd be able to request if you decide to use student loan as an income option. Number four, start early. If you already know where you want to go and you know how much money you're going to need, I suggest that you start saving now. Number five, talk to a placement coordinator. Hopefully at your university, college campus, you have a university placement team that will able to support you when you are looking for possible placements. Hopefully they give you updates and information regarding possible placement opportunities. I talked to my placement coordinator and they gave me a list of potential websites that I need to check out to see, like the cost of living, when looking for accommodation, what websites are the best to use, especially for students. And they also put me in touch with a person that went to Montreal, so that gave me a good idea as to what to expect when I got there. Number six, do your research. When I say do your research every single thing you can think of. Like, for example, how far is your potential accommodation from the university campus? How much would campus university cost per month? What do you aim to do as soon as you get there? When I initially decided that I wanted to go to Canada, I did so much research while waiting for my study permit. So when I got there, I already had an idea as to the neighborhood that I would like to live in. Prior to leaving the UK, I researched a couple of places that I aim to see in person before I put a deposit down. Like I said, I researched the neighborhood, I researched the amenities within the neighborhood, grocery stores, gym, which is essential for me. I must say it's not an essential for everyone, but it is for me. How far are we to the subway, to the metro? How far is it from like downtown? Initially, when I got to Montreal, I stayed downtown in a hotel with a bunch of restaurants nearby, good transport links to university and malls. And I just stayed there for like a week to get my bearings together. The hotel was in a great location. It was literally a 2-minute walk to a bus stop, which took me to university. And during the first week when I got there, I had my induction. So it was one straight bus straight to the university. In the first few days, I looked at accommodations that I viewed in line in person. I did a couple of viewings, and I also did my university induction. Within the first week, I was able to find the most suitable accommodation for me. It was in walking distance to one of the university's campuses. It was a 3-minute walk to a small grocery store, and it was like within a 10-minute walk to Walmart. So I was pretty happy with the location of my accommodation. There were 2 bus stops within a 5-minute walk. Once I got on the bus, it was about a 2 to 3-minute bus drive to the subway. I made sure that I stayed in a well-lit area. I made sure that I was close to transport links. That way, if I'm coming home late at night by myself, which I rarely did, I wasn't walking long distances in the dark or in like a place that I'm not familiar with. Like I mentioned before, please do not put a deposit down on an apartment that you have not seen in person. Please do not waste your money like that. I know you're a bit nervous going to a strange environment that you've never been before, and you just want to make sure you find somewhere to live quickly. I understand that. But bear in mind that what may be in person could be completely different to what you see online. You don't want to be sold a dream, and it's unlikely that you'll be able to get your money back. So make sure you save your money, save up the money to when you actually get there, you probably can afford to get a better place to live. Number 7, living costs. I would recommend traveling with enough money in cash or like a prepaid international card, because as soon as you get there, once you know for your apartments, you're going to need cash on hand or access to an ATM. So within the first month, you're going to need rent, a deposit, a bank account. If you want to get a local phone, you're definitely going to need a bank account. Food, you want to make sure you don't just rely on takeout, you actually have food in your house. When I went to Montreal, I traveled with about 800 Canadian dollars, and within the first 3 weeks, most of the money was gone. But I spent my money wisely. I did 1 month's rent, I did deposit, bought a bunch of groceries that lasted for almost a month. I got a local phone, I set up my bank account, paid for health insurance, which was a part of the induction phase at the university. So, you know, all of the money adds up. You'll be surprised, like adulting is hard. Number 8, how long do you intend to stay for? Are there options on your course to split the year up? Like I said, do you want to study and then for like the first 6 months, and then do you want to work for the rest of the placement year? I decided to study for the whole placement year. I had a friend that I also went to Montreal with. She studied for the first 6 months. For the first semester, she studied in Montreal, and then she moved to Belgium and worked for the remainder of her placement year. So it is possible. Both options give you great experience as well. It's worthwhile writing on your CV that you lived in a whole different country, so you're accustomed to adapting to new situations. Well, number 9, healthcare. One thing about the UK which I must say I really do appreciate is the free healthcare. It is not the same in many countries such as America, so it's something that you definitely need to budget for. I read a study, which I'll link down below, that the average American spent over $9,000 in healthcare in 2012, and that is a tremendous amount of money. So I do say get healthcare just in case, just to say you have it, and don't be like, oh, you know, well, I'm not going to need it. You never know, accidents happen, and you don't want to be left with a whole lump sum, especially as a student who may not even be working, and you have to pay that back before you leave. So please make sure you get healthcare. I was so lucky that I had healthcare included in my induction. That way I paid for it there and then. It was about $300 to $500 for the year, and I didn't have to think about it. Also, I would recommend doing your own research if you're not sure what healthcare provider to go with. Make sure you talk to someone from the university if they have more experience and advice about what to do regarding healthcare, but do make sure it is a priority when saving and budgeting for your year abroad. I'm going to leave a couple of links in the description box with regards to financial aid that you may need if you are unable to support yourself while working and or studying abroad. Now for my regrets. I definitely regret not being as sociable as I should have. If you know me, and I'm a bit of an introvert, I mind my business and I mind the business that pays me, but I do realize that I missed out on a lot of opportunities because I was too shy, I was too scared to get stuck in there. There was a trip to Cuba from Montreal for the students. It was roughly, I want to say 300 Canadian dollars for like 3 or 4 days, and that included accommodation, trips and stuff like that. I'm like, now that I think about it, it gets me upset because I'm like, I could have gone to Cuba for the free, not for the free, but for the low cost, you know, because from here to Cuba, something ridiculous. So that is one of my regrets. I also regret not traveling that much within Canada, although I did travel quite a bit beyond Canada. For example, I went to New York with my friend during first semester, and then I went to Atlanta to spend Christmas with my family. I have family in Atlanta. I then went to Brazil because my friend was also studying in Brazil, and I went to Philadelphia because my friend was studying in Philadelphia. So I was just like here, there and everywhere. And I did that once uni was closed, or once I finished all my assignments. That's when I started traveling. But I definitely recommend traveling as much as you can. Like I mentioned earlier, another regret is not picking up French. Ask me to form a full coherent sentence in French, I'm going to struggle. And I did have the opportunity to study French as part of my course at university, but it was like first come first served basis, and it had limited spaces available. And I was like, you know what, I can't be bothered to go to university. I'm just gonna give it a miss. And I do regret that because I feel like I could have, you know, at least be intermediate level by now with French, but now I'm learning Spanish. So I was gonna try and say something in Spanish, but let's leave that for another day. My last regret is not taking enough pictures. Like, how can I move to a totally different country and not take a lot of pictures? Like, it doesn't make sense to me, doesn't make sense to you, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, that is definitely one of my regrets. I should have took more pictures, man. Like, just the process, the journey of like finding my first apartment, you know, the grocery store. Like, I'm mad at myself, but I have all the memories up here and they will last a lifetime. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you found it useful. Check the links in the description box below. Thank you for taking this time out to watch my video. See you next time. Bye.